Anthony Leal doubles down on his senior night comments. What did he say on the Hoosier Hysterics podcast? We'll talk about it all in this episode.
Watford 3 on the way. Oh!
Hello, guys. Thank you once again for joining me on Indiana Sports Connection. I am your residential anchor, Aaron. Thank you so much for being here. So it's Masters Week. I have been watching this all last night. It went really late. The Thursday and Friday, it's got to be like the Tiger Woods show, really, to watch this, because last night it's like Dottie Pepper's following Tiger. Everybody's talking about Tiger. What's Tiger going to do? Does his ankle hurt? Is he at 20%? Is he at 10%? Is he going to drop out? Is he going to make the cut? It's all about Tiger out there, but I love to see it. I love to watch it. This is my favorite golf week, definitely, of the entire year. Thank you so much for joining me. I am your residential anchor, Aaron. We will be talking about, in the episode today, Anthony Leal goes on the Hoosier Hysterics podcast, talks about, I have a few questions lined up and a few things that he said on there, and we will discuss what he said. What do we find out about our coaching staff and what happens with the coaches on this team from listening to this interview? It's some stuff that is really gets you fired up when you start to think about some of the stuff that he's saying on here, and then how this is relevant to what's happening at Indiana right now. But if this is your first time here, thank you so much for joining me on Indiana Sports Connection. Hit that subscribe button down below and hit that bell notification. You'll get an alert every time I go live. And also, if you hit that thumbs up, that means you like the video, and it will get the video out to more Hoosier fans across the country, across the globe, people watching this show everywhere. So subscribe to the channel, jump in the rocket ship. I thank you all so much for leaving comments. We have a lot to discuss in this episode today, so leave your comments down below. I always love to hear from you. So let's get into talking about the Indiana Hoosiers. But all right, we're going to get right into it. Anthony Leal, he goes on the Hoosier Hysterics podcast, and he makes some comments on there, and we're just going to discuss those. But he was asked, why did he choose to come back? Why did he choose to do the senior night? And let's just listen in and hear what he had to say.
Well, obviously the plan was always to come back. I'd always wanted to come back. But I think whether or not we were going to come back, we both were going to do the ceremony regardless, just because if something had happened where we ended up leaving or wasn't able to come back, then we would have been kind of sad if we had never gotten a senior day. So I think that we were both planning on speaking regardless, but a few days before, just from meeting with Coach Woodson and solidifying that I was going to be coming back, then me and Trey both kind of wanted to use the opportunity to speak and just kind of support Coach and kind of make a statement, and just that we believe in what he's doing and we support him no matter what people think. So I think that kind of goes a long way for us in terms of showing our support for him and in terms of recruiting, obviously. So
the senior night thing, it was really kind of like all type of a preconceived way to, show support for the coach. I understand what he was saying about the recruiting, but I will say this. This is ridiculous. I mean, Mike Woodson should have put a stop to this even happening, because it's not a 22-year-old kid's job to go out there and defend a 66-year-old man who's not doing his job the right way. It's just not Anthony Leal's place. I don't blame him for doing it. I blame Mike Woodson, because this is just a sign of a lot of cracks in the foundation and a lot of what we already think about the program. Listen, when I watch these interviews with players, all I try to extract from it is what we can figure out about the coaching staff in this and what the coaching staff is telling them or anything like that. Now, he did not reveal in all of these interviews really much about anything with the coaching or anything like that. I mean, at one point in this interview, they asked him about what they need to work on as a team, and he said, I don't want to give away anything that we're working on because it's so secretive. I mean, the team was terrible last year. On what planet do you think that you're figuring out things somehow in such a sophisticated way that you can't? All you would have had to say is, you know what? We need to block out better and rebound better, because we were awful at this last year, and shoot free throws and shoot 3-pointers. Those are things that he could have said, but he didn't say those things. Let's go on to the next clip, because this was one that really pissed me off, was his answer to this one. I mean, I'm just going to be honest with you. You know, he was asked if the fans set any type of standard or anything. Well, let's just listen in. Let's just roll that clip.
Fans expressing what they think the standard should be help set the standard. And if fans don't set the standard, then what are we?
I don't think that fans set any standards, because, like I said, obviously they're coming to support and everything. That's greatly appreciated, but you're not the ones, you know, preparing for a scout or in practice or doing workouts with us or lifting weights with us. So I don't think that it's the fans' job to, you know, set the standard for the team personally.
Yeah, that's fair.
I mean, so there you have it. You think the fans don't set the standard? I'll tell you, and I don't like to pick on players, but I don't like this elitist attitude that you think you're so much better at knowing basketball and what we're seeing out there. Look, I've known Indiana basketball fans my entire life. We have some of the smartest fans in the entire country. And you know why that is? Because Bob Knight went around the state of Indiana with guys that did basketball camps for high school coaches, and he had great relationships with high school coaches in the state of Indiana. That's why there are a ton of people that are really smart when it comes to basketball in the state of Indiana. Bob Knight, you know, propagated that. Steve Alford did a lot of basketball camps when he coached at North Manchester right down here. I mean, he did a lot of basketball camps. So if you want to just sit there and act like, you know, we have no clue what we're talking about, it's just kind of a really pompous point of view to think that no fan. Also, what I would like to see out of like Leo or anybody who's saying something specific about fans, say specifically what happened. I mean, are you talking about a video being made? Are you talking about a comment you saw on Instagram? Are you talking about a comment you saw on Twitter? You know, I don't really get on Twitter or X because, yeah, if you want to see the most lethal things that people are going to say, they're going to say it on there because it's more anonymous than anywhere else. On Facebook, you might see less of that because people might know who you actually are, and people have a little bit of fear of saying something nasty when people know who you are. So I would like to know specifically what comment or anything from the fans, you know, did make you upset, because that would give it more validity and we'd actually know what you're talking about. But that would take a level of communication. We try to communicate this on this show because of some of this stuff I'm trying to figure out, as well as you out there are. So, and then he closes this up by saying this right here, and let's just roll that clip of what he thinks fans' expectations should be.
Make it to the second weekend. What do you think is fair for fans to expect as just Indiana fans in general? I'm not even really talking about this next season. I'm just talking about in general. What do you think is fair for Indiana fans to expect?
I think it's fair to always have high expectations. Obviously, I think every fan base probably will, but like there's ups and downs and bumps no matter what the team is. Like Purdue's in the Final Four right now, but they lost their preseason scrimmage to Arkansas. It's like there's ups and downs and highs and lows and stuff like that. So I think that there's always high expectations. Like our expectation coming into every season is, okay, we want to win the Big Ten title, we want to win a national championship. Like I think that's fair to have that expectation.
I got to ask, because you brought up.
So there at the end, he says, you know, expect the best. We do expect the best. You know why we expect the best? Because this MFer was our captain for a long time, and this is what we all secretly think. Roll that clip, Hillbilly Monkey. We'll get some nostalgia in this episode. Oh, that's right. I got them Bob Knight clips. They're all ready to be fired up. Well, then fire it up, then, Hillbilly Monkey. Fire it up.
But often, they don't understand those things associated with it and upon which it may even be dependent, and refuse them all understanding. People want to win. You know, people want national championship banners. People want to talk about Indiana being competitive. How do we get there? We don't get there with milk and cookies. We never have, and we never will.
I mean, I don't want to go on and on and on about this, but I just thought this interview was something interesting to kind of dissect a little bit, because we kind of can see and pull back the curtain a little bit and see a little bit of what really is kind of happening behind closed doors. I just don't think it is the place for a kid who's 22 years old, who actually, I mean, Anthony Leal, he's really not played on any teams he's been on. I've never really understood that. I've never really understood why he was Mr. Basketball. It was never given an opportunity to play under Archie or Mike Woodson. And I don't know if that has to do with his work ethic. They did ask him a question like, what do you think? Like, every team is working out and doing all the things that you're saying that you're doing. It's like, what makes Indiana basketball different? And I think that's a question that these coaches and Anthony Leal and all these players really need to answer. What makes you different than Purdue? What makes you different than this school or that school? I mean, this year, nothing really set us apart from anybody. I mean, we were just bottom of the barrel in so many categories. And then also, when you go back and you think about, you know, the dirty plays and all this stuff, and I don't really want to go over and over and over it, because we are in the middle of a transfer portal fight right now where we need about 6 or 7 good players to come in from the transfer portal. And we are going to be writing a lot of checks that maybe our asses can't cash by the end of the day when it comes down to it in the transfer portal. All these guys in the transfer portal want something for nothing. They want to be guaranteed something, shots, playing time, something, minutes. But when we're bringing in this many guys from the transfer portal, are we going to be able to keep all those promises and then throw all these guys together? How do you make a team out of that? I mean, that's going to be really, really hard for even the best of coaches with the best of culture in place. I think it's going to be even harder for Indiana. Thank you so much for joining me on this episode. The transfer portal is just coming out of the dead zone, so we'll be making some episodes about some guys that are transferring. But it's crazy what is going on with the transfer portal. There are tons of guys in there. It's just too much to really keep up with. But enjoy the Masters today. Enjoy Masters weekend. This is the best weekend to watch golf. And until next time, stay classy out there, Colts and Hoosier fans.
Load it up and truck it. Are we going to do what they say can't be done?
These days, I think cybersecurity is now as important as physical security. That's why when I'm online, I use NordVPN. NordVPN uses next generation encryption to keep my passwords and data safe, which is especially important when I'm traveling and I'm on public Wi-Fi, which is more vulnerable to hacking. I'm sure a lot of you are going to be traveling for the holidays this summer. Use NordVPN, one account that will protect all your devices and computers. And with their 30-day money-back guarantee, you have nothing to lose.